Welcome back to the morning after, everybody. We, Hank and I, are sitting here with our most requested guest. Do you want to introduce?
Yeah, the one and the only Tata.
Yay!
Tata, thank you so much for being here. You really are our most requested guest. And
I don't know why, but
because you're the baby guru genius.
You're the whisperer.
The child raising
that.
expert. And everybody is just trying to figure it out. It's hard.
It's so hard.
It's so hard.
It is.
Do you think that you have figured it out with all the years and the training? Because you balance the life of having your own child and then also having, children that you care for. So, like at what point, if she hasn't figured it out?
I know, but don't you love that she's honest about that? Because turns out, like, she knows a lot.
Yeah.
More than anyone I know. And she's still figuring out. I think that's a ode to being a mother, a nanny, anything like you are. It's a figure it out as you go.
Yeah.
And I will say, like, she has been, since day one, it is my decision. Well, whatever you say. Meanwhile, she knew trying to potty train twins at 18 months was not a good idea.
Yeah.
But she was like, you know what? Yes, Kelly, we will try. And she let me trial and error that.
I remember that.
Yes.
And then we sat on the couch. It's like, okay, Tata, what are we gonna do next?
Yes. And like you were always so open to allowing me to do it the way I thought was gonna work. And you were so gracious in that way, because I feel like a lot of times, even myself, I'm like, yeah, that ain't gonna work. But you let me figure it out. And you were patient with it. And I remember Matthew, when we tried to do that, Matthew's like, so we're just going to let them piss and shit all through the house? Like, that's our plan?
Oh, because you were doing the wear no diaper.
Wear no diapers.
Oh, I've heard about that one.
Oh, it was, and she kept telling me, she was like, when they're ready, they're ready. And I was like, they're ready. Come on, they're ready. I went through, remember we did like the thing sitting next to the potty, the charts. We did everything. Way too young.
Yeah.
Turns out.
18 months.
Dumb.
Yeah. What were you thinking? Were you trying to break some record?
I don't know. Yeah, I guess. You know what? Probably felt a little pressure from outside sources, like looking at things. And I was like, oh, they can do this. My kids are smart. They can do this. Turns out it has nothing to do with them being smart. And we're going to get into this. Yes. Because this is a big question that was asked. But
about potty training.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm honestly so glad you're here.
Thank you, Kelly.
You look as beautiful as ever. I will say, people are always like, are you serious? You hired a hot nanny? And I was like, well, yeah, I took a chance because she's too good. I can't not. But
do you remember like the very first time you communicated? I mean, were there phone calls or Zooms or anything like that before you actually like met in real life?
Yeah, at least I don't forget that.
Yeah.
I was living in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
I'll never forget it either. You were the first one, because we did not want to live in. We were like kind of against a live-in nanny, and she, on her resume, said she was a live-in. And we're talking to her, and I remember writing on because we had a bunch of different people we were interviewing, and I remember writing on the top of the page, I love her. And Matthew looked up at me and was like, same.
And why didn't you want to live in? You just had this idea
know.
that
Yeah,
it was
well, I think I had this like notion of like I wanted to be able to do like some of it on my own.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Turns out like it's a team effort.
Yeah.
And I needed a teammate, and I needed
Especially
Tata.
with twins, yeah.
Well, I think honestly, with anything, I needed Tata in my life, and it wasn't just for my kids; it was for myself.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
She was not just a support for my children, but she was and still is an incredible support for me.
Yeah.
And all the things I go through. So, again, I love you. I can't say it enough. But you remember that phone call?
Yes.
And what were your thoughts when you were like, "Hey, you're in Michigan. We're in Michigan."
Well, I was going through one of the toughest moments of my life. Like, I think when I met you and Matthew over the phone, it was the right moment to meet you both, because I think a week or 2 weeks earlier, they told me that I could not continue with IVF because it was affecting my health.
Yeah.
And for me, when I received that phone call, I loved that Matthew was in sport, but I didn't know who he was. So I had no idea who this hot couple was, from the NFL. And that made me like a fresh breath of air.
Yeah.
That's how you say it.
Yeah.
Because it was like no one famous, and we could, be a team and give it a try without the pressure of, working for a high profile family.
Yeah.
Because you've done that.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. And sometimes you can feel that pressure. So for me it was, Michigan, Chattanooga. Okay, let's give it a try. And then I remember it was a Friday, and Kelly, why don't book you a trip? I said, and you come Monday to Michigan and we meet each other face to face. And I said, okay, let's do it.
I love it.
So for me, it was like a distraction that has led to today.
I love it.
Like, almost 8 years later.
I know.
Wow.
And
8 years and a move across the country.
Yeah.
Yes, and I'll tell you something too. Like when she came up to visit that one time, I took her to 220.
Oh, okay.
And
Restaurant
I
in
remember
Birmingham,
Yes, and I remember she was very soft spoken.
Yeah.
And come to find, like, a couple of months, I was like, she's been kind of quiet. And, I'm loud. So I was like, I don't know. And I loved you. I was like, and then come to find out, I was like, oh, no, she ain't quiet. She's just like me.
You haven't met me.
I love it.
Yeah.
I loved it so much. And just the whole process you made extremely easy, something that I thought was going to be so difficult. You have a way about you that you make it easy for people to love you.
Thank you, Kelly.
It's
Now,
very
were you
true.
pregnant at the time?
I was like very pregnant.
You were very pregnant. So you were
Yes.
trying to figure out, you wanted somebody there once you got home from the hospital.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, to start. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was the time frame from like how long from you met her, she flew to Michigan to say hello, and then you had babies?
Oh, I don't know. But
I'll give you the
Okay,
date.
yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
January 17th.
Oh my gosh, that's when you flew to Michigan.
Yes.
Okay, and I had the babies March 31st.
Okay.
So we were aware that this was going to be the dynamic. You came up. When did you come up? And I remember you looking through the house, and you think you like organize things, right? I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, we're so organized. She's like, do you mind if I move some stuff around? I was like, please do. She made it made so much more sense.
Yeah.
Like once she organized, it's like, this makes way more sense. But you came up, do you remember like when you came up before I had the babies?
Yes,
Okay.
2 weeks, 2.5 weeks before March 6th was, I flew for the first time January 17 in Michigan.
Yeah.
Went back to Chattanooga, and then I flew back to Michigan March 6th.
And did Mark come with you on that date?
No.
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 Okay. He
And
came
when
later, that's right.
that was like you were moving.
No, not
No,
yet.
okay.
I went back to Chattanooga. I helped
Yeah.
Kelly for 2.5 weeks, help
Yeah.
her with her bed rest because, she was very pregnant
Yeah.
with Sawyer and Chandler.
Yeah.
And then I went a week before the twins were born,
Okay.
and I flew definitely April 2nd
And
when Kelly and the twins were in the
How do
hospital.
you remember
Yes.
these
I
dates
know,
like
it's
this?
really impressive.
Like I said,
Yeah.
it's I know it's very impressive, but Hank, it was like, if Kelly think that I was blessing to her, she was a blessing to
Oh,
me.
that's so sweet.
Because having Sawyer and Chandler gave me a purpose of a difficult moment that I was going through.
Yeah.
And I will never change that. Those little twins changed my life.
Yeah.
You were so good. I mean, like, and they were hard. Well, and she will be like, well, they weren't that. I'm like, they were hard. Compared to like Hunter was so easy. Oh, Tyler's a different story. But Chandler and Sawyer, you remember they were like, they didn't want to eat.
Yeah.
And like
They had acid
They had
reflux.
acid reflux. And she is so patient. Meanwhile, Matthew and I are like, oh my, we're trying to feed one of them. We're like, just eat the food, just eat the food.
Yeah.
And she's like, it's okay. And and one of them will throw a ball over. She's like, it's okay. And I'm like, oh my, like you were so good, so patient. I mean, it taught me so much. I'm not kidding. I like watching you just with them taught me an incredible amount of like just knowledge of, and like just, I don't know, not taking everything every moment so like harshly, which like when you're a mom, I feel like that's really hard, but having you there to just like comfort not only me, but them was such an incredible blessing that I didn't think, I honestly, when we were hiring or when we were looking, I was like, all right, they're going to help me feed, sterilize bottles. If I need to go do something, they'll be there. But you were so much more than that. So
Thank you, Kelly. But also, I have to give you the same way you give me credit. I have to give you credit because it's not easy. It's not easy to give control of your most precious things that are your children or your newborn babies to someone you haven't met. That you said you were against living in, and then here I come living in a Latina, loud, with, like Latino behavior, basically, different culture. It takes a lot. It is not easy to give control to somebody. And it wasn't about control. It was, like you said, a team effort. But it's like, how do I trust somebody that I don't know? It's based on reference. It's based on a resume, what others are telling, about her.
Yeah.
Instead of giving the chance and the opportunity to try it out. And you and Matthew did that. You gave me a chance.
Yeah. Wow.
And
that's because you meet Tata, you love Tata, you'll trust her with anything. Am I right?
Yeah, and I mean, like, it's, seeing the evolution of it, because I remember all of this. I don't even think, I just think of Tata as like a member of the family.
Oh, she is.
I know she is, but it's like, that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen a lot. And so that's a testament to both of you, because you were willing to accept it, and you were also you went from, I don't want anybody living in my house, to saying, like,
I need Tata.
What are we doing for Christmas dinner? So,
yes, exactly. In a world of slot reels and blackjack deals comes the must-play event of the summer from DraftKings Casino, featuring nonstop action and an all-star cast of games, including A-lister Loki's Luck. This summer blockbuster is one you won't want to miss. Plus, new players can get $100 instantly in casino credits with just a $1 wager, and all players get a blockbuster bonus every week. So sign up with code MORNINGAFTER and grab your popcorn. It's showtime on DraftKings Casino. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER, or in the West Virginia, visit www.1800gambler.net. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. 21 plus, physically present in Connecticut, Michigan, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, West Virginia only. Void in Ontario. Eligibility and other restrictions apply. New customers only. $1 wager to earn $100 in non-withdrawable casino credits that expire in 168 hours. Terms at casino.draftkings.com/blockbuster. Now, we're talking about us meeting. I want to know your first reaction to meeting Hank over here. Do you
I don't remember our first meeting, and I'm trying to remember. Emma wasn't born yet.
No, you came over to hold the twins.
Yeah, no, I'm sure it must have been that. Yeah,
and
I don't think I met her.
if I'm not mistaken.
Megan was there. I know that.
Maybe.
Was Sam there?
I feel like maybe Megan and I came first. She might be right, but it was like probably after you came home from after you came home from the hospital.
Yeah, y'all were like one of the first
Tata was there. Yeah.
What did you think of Hank?
Well, I'm gonna be truly honest. I don't remember. It's almost 8 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really. I know I'm leaning like I'm just like I'm leaning too far away from the mic. Sorry.
It's okay.
I need a coffee.
I don't remember. It's almost 8 years ago.
Yeah.
But one thing I can truly say from the bottom of my heart, Hank, one of the things I admire you the most until today's day is the love that you have for your community.
Oh, you're
I love
so sweet,
your
Tata.
show. I love what you do for your community in Michigan, and how that servant heart that you have to help others, and so your community and your audience listens to you, reach out to you, and you listen to them. You don't find that, on people on TV. And it's one of the things I admire you the most.
I love Tata.
Plus, Daddy from Emma.
I know.
We had something in common. We both have adopted children.
Yes. And I remember that anxiety and that fear. And I remember like texting Kelly or something. I'm like, oh my God, I have all these. And she's like, just feel free to reach out to Tata. Ask her whatever you want to ask her. And it was just like, I just remember so many times I'm like, should I do this? Should I do that? And she'd be real quick to respond. And it's just great to have that knowledge, you know?
Well, and you've been a support system not only for me, but for like everyone around me. Whenever there's people are like, hey, how did you do this? I'm like, just text Tata because I just refer to her defer to her on these. But you spoke on, your adoption and Asher we didn't speak on Asher, but I would like to just talk on Asher for a second. Yes.
How's he doing?
Yeah.
I didn't get to see him this trip, but I saw him last trip.
I saw him today.
He's getting so big.
Oh, you saw him today?
He runs. I mean, like, I'm going to miss that next year.
I know.
They're going to
How old is he now?
He is 4.5. He will be 5 in December.
Was there anything, because you've been around kids so long and you're so trained, was there anything about, and I know he's had some, different challenges too, but was there anything that you were like, wow, this is not something that I expected? Just maybe because it was your own child. Was it more difficult because it was your own child?
Hank, no. He was a sleep trained at a very early age. He started, if I'm not mistaken, he started sleeping through the night when he was like 3 months.
Wow.
But yes, when he hit the 18 months mark, he had some behavioral issues that, caught my attention.
Yeah.
Not only mine, but also my daughter Nikki,
Yeah.
my husband. This is so weird. And then we realized, we started, and that mark hit when we were moving from Michigan to LA.
Yeah.
So we started, Kelly helped us to find, some type of a special doctor, a genetic doctor to do a test to see what was wrong. And we realized that he was born with a genetic disorder. Mm-hmm. So that was basically affecting him a little bit, and it has affected his speech. But, you don't know it all. You think you do because you have some knowledge, and you really, at the end of the day, you don't. And unfortunately, guilt was present with me for a lot of months. I said, wish I could find out this earlier. Wish I could do this, do that. And you just don't. You don't know it all. You don't, children's teach us so much on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. And, we have to treat ourselves with a lot of grace.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's when Kira told me, you have to think about your it's a lot. For me, my it's a lot is parenting.
Yeah.
Being a parent, being a mom,
every
being a
day
dad.
of it.
It
every
is
day.
so much. We don't give ourselves grace. We raise based on guilt, on competition, on judgment.
Oh my God.
On what
Competition.
others
So
Competition.
on what others are saying. If you do this, let me do it so I can show you I am better like that. And at least with me, I have learned so much with Asher.
Yeah.
In so many different ways. My son has taught me so many things along the way because he came with challenges that I didn't know existed until he turned 18, 20 months old.
Yeah.
And for me, it's hard, but it's the most beautiful, rewarding thing that you could ever experience.
Yeah.
And for me, it's the best career ever.
Yeah.
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 At least for me.
And like you're saying, like I kind of said earlier, but you touched on it again, you to the average person like me are an expert. You know so much about development of children, about caring for them. What I love about you though is you kind of put all that aside most of the time, and you care with your heart first, which is again just something about you. It's just special. But I think as people are listening to this, moms are listening to this, going, she's right. Like, I need to give myself grace, because if someone like Tata, who's been doing this and who knows, and she's even saying, okay, well, we parent through guilt, we parent through competition, which is so true. Mm-hmm. I mean, and it's horrible, but it's true. It's almost like you can't help yourself because of all the influences you're receiving, whether it be from social media or from like a grandparent or, just like simple things, but they affect you. And then you put it on your children. And so I think like you said, giving yourself a little bit of grace and patience to figure it out. And turns out you'll figure it out, and then there'll be a different issue that you're going to have to work with. I think it's amazing. And I know you say you feel guilty about wanted to figure out Asher earlier. And I believe that you were meant to be that Asher's mom.
Yes, absolutely.
Because the average parent wouldn't have figured it out for another 4 years.
Yeah.
So like you in particular, God said, this is going to be Asher's mom and she's going to care for him. And I told you this too, like you adopt, and you both can speak to this. Adoption is hard to go through. And I know that I don't want to speak on that because I didn't do it, but you also are given a child, and a lot of people who might be given a child that might have difficulties might not stick with it.
Yeah.
But that's not you. And that is why that boy is, and I know that he has touched you and changed you, and I know you're so blessed to have him, but he is so blessed to have you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
All of us.
Oh,
Yeah.
All of us.
can I tell you, I think Tai wouldn't survive without Asher. I'm not kidding.
it's
Did
so
you not?
cute.
She is really worried. She goes, Asher's going to go to the new school with me, right? And I was like, I don't think he's going to the same school. And she literally almost lost it this morning. I was like, but you have one more week with him and you'll see him a bunch, baby. It's not like you'll not see Asher.
Exactly.
Yes, but I mean, and I get it. We walk in and he runs straight up. It is just so, I mean, I love their friendship. It is, it's the best.
They have a special bond.
They really do. You know what? I'm not going to even ask if you guys do this because I know we all do it thanks to the social media. And it's comparing ourselves. And you know what? Whether we're doing it with a photo of someone just posting themselves on Instagram, or they're walking down the street and they have 9 kids and you're like, wow, how do they look so good? I wish I looked like that. We are all guilty of comparing ourselves. And to be honest, there's nothing that we can really do, right? It's kind of thrown in our faces. This is where I've turned to BetterHelp, guys, to get someone from the outside to just talk to about these things. Because I get caught up wishing my life looked different or wishing I felt like I belonged in the place I was. I've really benefited from BetterHelp, and what's great about it, it's convenient. There's no waiting room. If I didn't like my therapist, even though I do, but if I didn't, I could change, and they would get me a new one ASAP. So they make it easy. They make it convenient. It's on your time. So if you've been just wondering about therapy, do it. Stop comparing and start focusing with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/morningafter today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/morningafter for that 10% off. I want to get into some of the questions that were from the listeners. And one of the main ones too, besides your first impressions of Hank, what made you want to become a professional nanny? I hate the word nanny. Why do I feel like there's a negative connotation on the word nanny?
Oh, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No. Do you think so? I guess we should ask you.
I don't know. Like, I think I've been blessed from the last 2-3 families. I have been blessed the way they have treated me.
Yeah.
I think not, and I can speak in general. I don't think all the families treat nannies the way they supposed to be treated.
Yeah.
They treated, sometimes they get treated like the help.
Yeah.
And, and I don't think it's like that.
No.
The way to answer first Kelly's question, I think one thing led me to another. The previous family that I had, they had twins too. And actually it's very common because they are born March 31st, the same way, Lucas and Emma.
Yeah.
And Lucas and Emma were born the same exact day that Sawyer and Chandler.
So crazy.
Yes. So that family gave me the opportunity to apply my degree, which is behavioral therapist, in-house.
Okay.
And even though I had already previously doing the sleep training and career, working as a nanny, they gave me something no other family gave me. And that was apply my behavioral therapist to their children, because one of the twins was born with a lot of sensory issues. Mm-hmm. So when I realized I could do my career, not in a hospital, never like that.
Yeah.
Get it.
In-house, working with families that really needed somebody, like that gave me a totally different Hank perspective of, okay, I can be a little bit more than just helping moms and dads.
Yeah.
And stimulation, exercises. And like I did with Kelly, working as a team to train her to get some knowledge about sleep training, exercises, stimulation, what you can do, per age, Cognitive, they can do a lot of stuff when they're newborn. Skills, so all that led me to become more passionate. And I became behavioral therapist due to having an uncle that suffered from polio and he was disabled for the rest of his life, and then having a cousin that suffered from was born with Down syndrome. So everything, they were my inspiration to all this until today's day. So for me, I don't see myself doing something else. For a lot of people, you're just a nanny, or you feel embarrassed to say, no, I am proudly say that I am a nanny.
Yes.
Am I still your nanny, Kelly?
Yes, you are.
I received several messages like, I'm going to show it to you. Like, are you still the staffer's nanny?
Oh,
I never replied,
guys.
but
I'm never letting her go. So
Well, how hard is it though? Because I'm curious about that. Because you just said, I'm never letting her go. But
No,
I mean,
I can't.
obviously, there becomes a cycle of life where kids are old enough now where they might not need the resources that you provide. And so, how hard is that when that chapter comes to an end? When somebody's with a family and they live with the family, or they, you know what I mean?
it wasn't, I remember Kelly and I, we had this conversation like a year and a half ago, and we both cried. It was like I went from living in to go to my house.
Yeah.
But that, we balance each other so well. She is, and I have to give her credit because not all the families that I have worked for are hands-on with their children.
Yeah.
Kelly, it's all hands-on with her girls. She managed everything that has to do with 4 girls, including Matthew.
Yeah.
And he splits himself with being a husband, an NFL quarterback, and a dad. And I
Yeah.
think for Matthew, that's the best title he has.
Yeah.
I agree.
Father, being
Yeah,
a father.
I agree.
So Hank, it is difficult, and it was very difficult for me because I said, okay, I'm not, we have something that is our worst enemy as a human beings, and it's our mind.
Yeah.
We feed things that are not true.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, they don't want me anymore. Oh, you are not useful anymore. But it wasn't the case, and I have to minister that to myself. There was a chapter that was done that I wasn't, the girls were potty trained, sleep trained. They're big.
Everything trained.
Everything trained.
Yeah.
And you just go to, okay, let's help Kelly and Matthew to be there when they can be there.
Yeah.
And that's where I am at right now.
Yeah.
I jumping when they can't.
Yeah.
And, we are a team. And I will be here until they don't want me anymore. That's,
Was the move
You'll
that,
be on your deathbed. I'll be like, don't leave me, Tata. All right. Actually, it might be me first. So there you go.
Did you have to? I mean, they obviously had to sit down as a family and really think about this California move because it was a big move. How big was that for you to take in too? Because that was a big
She had a
change
full
of
family.
your
She had-
life
yep.
and of your family's life.
Yes, it was basically my second move
Yeah.
with them. When I first moved to Michigan, I was living in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And the second move was Michigan to California. I remember they were in Cabo and they gave me the news. I was extremely, extremely happy for Matthew. Never doubt for a bit that was his year of winning the Super Bowl.
I know
Yeah.
you didn't. You really
Never,
didn't. It was impressive.
never. I still have a video where I said, Super Bowl, here we go.
She had like a whole board, and she also came over and helped me decorate the cars for the first game. She was like, "This is it." And honestly, she like kept me afloat that year because we had like the lull of the middle of the year, and she was like, "Nope, this is it. This is it." I'm not kidding. This woman like willed it. It was wild.
So as that's all happening, though, did you and Matthew have a conversation to say, okay, we're moving. How is this going to, like, Tata, like, you know what I mean? Like, you break the news to her that you're moving, but part of that conversation had to be like, we're moving. Do you want to move?
We had the conversation before the trade
Before
went down.
the
Yes.
decision, because
Yes,
there were
because-
other cities that were being kicked
Well,
around.
not only
and-
that, Matthew and I had this conversation before he went in to the Fords.
Yeah,
Because I said, I need to talk to Tata.
yeah,
Like I said, we're a team.
yeah,
And honestly, Matthew was right there with me. If she wasn't game, we really have to question it.
yeah.
Because this was our family and
Yeah.
still is our family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like
Yeah.
her family was is our
Yeah,
family.
yeah.
And so we had the conversation before he even went in.
Yeah,
And she, like Tata is, she is a go with the flow, and she was like, yeah, let's do it. Now, we didn't know it was going to be California.
yeah,
So that's a bigger move than all of us could imagine. But I will say, like, there was a talk between Matthew and I that said, if, Tata's not game, I don't know if we're game. So that's how important
Yeah.
she is. And how important she is not only to us, but to our children.
yeah,
And how important our children are to us. We would sacrifice that to stay and just, I don't know, like, she is part of their DNA.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like, she's helping us raise them.
yeah.
And to be honest, if we took them from Tata, part of me, I feel like the twins would like resent me.
Yeah.
So again, it was a total family kind of decision. I believe you were like, you
I
wanted
wasn't-
it for Matthew, like
I was, but yes, I was super happy. I couldn't wait. I knew something deep inside my heart, Hank, that was his year.
Interesting.
But also, I had a daughter, a husband, and a newborn son.
Yeah.
That Asher was 8 months old,
young.
something like that. He was a baby.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like here I said, okay, let's go, let's move. And then, okay, I got to talk to my family. Like, and for my husband, when Mark moved to Michigan, we didn't have Nikki and Asher. Yeah. So it was very easy for both of us. Sure. Let's close doors, sell the house, and let's move. But here it was completely different. Nicole and Asher, and they both have challenges. Yeah. So I said, let me just roll with the ball. I said, so we had that conversation, and of course, if I am here is because they didn't support me, they support Matthew and Kelly to be here, and we're all that happy and blessed. Yeah.
Nikki just turned 21.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, she's old.
She's so beautiful, and her two sisters flew in, which it's so special. It makes it so special. All right, y'all, summer is coming to an end, and I want to make sure my kids are very ready for the school year, and that includes getting them in healthy habits and just healthy routines. And this is why I love Hiya vitamins. The vitamins we grew up with and the vitamins that are on the market right now are filled with all the candy junk. There are a lot of sugar, and they don't fill them with the good stuff that they need. Just like us, we do a lot of research on the supplements and vitamins that we take, so we should do the same for our kids. Hiya vitamins are pressed with a blend of 12 organic fruits and vegetables, then supercharged with 15 essential vitamins and minerals, including vitamin D, B12, Z, zinc, folate, and many others to help support immunity, energy, brain function, mood, concentration, teeth, bones, and so much more, guys. Give your kids the benefit of Hiya vitamins. Get them set up for the school year. We've worked out a special deal with Hiya for their best-selling children's vitamin. You can receive 50% off your first order. That's 50. To claim this deal, you must go to hiyahealth.com/morning. This deal is not available on their regular website. Go to hiyahealth.com/morning and get your kids the full body nourishment they need to grow into healthy adults. So I don't know how we got on that, but okay, so we're in California now. Yep. The whole discussion of when is the time that we go our separate ways. I don't believe there's going to be a time. She's also the godmother to my children. So
what an honor and privilege, and so do you, Matthew.
I know.
And from Asher.
I know. And I love that too, because honestly, I believe that, like we've been saying, but you keep the family tight and you're part of our family. And to know that you're going to be in our girls' lives forever, that gives me such I'm at ease.
I wouldn't want it any other way, Kelly.
Well, I love you. Okay, so we talked a little bit about sleep training. We've hit on it. And I love what you said, he slept through the night at 3 months. And I feel like people are like, well, my kids sleep through the night at 3 months, but not like this. And this is what I'm going to tell you guys. My kids do not wake up because they are sleep trained. But if they do wake up, they put themselves back to sleep. We don't get interrupted in the middle of the night. It's very rare, unless someone pukes or if Tyler poops or
diarrhea.
Yes, which was horrible. That we went through that a couple weeks ago.
Well, so then what's the secret to it?
Oh, she'll tell you.
Tata.
I don't know.
One word,
Tata's a secret.
What?
One word, consistency.
Yeah.
Consistency.
And a routine, right?
Yes, but of course, you can start a routine, and let me tell you, you start with the consistency as soon. Kelly can tell you, all her 4 girls, we started a consistency of a routine from the moment they got home.
Yeah.
Basically. A lot of people are going to ask, but you can't sleep train when they're newborn. Yes, but you can start. Babies learn by association. Whatever you associate, and you start putting the circadian rhythm, day and night, they will start getting that. Yeah. They will start, sleeping and waking up. Newborns are unpredictable. Yes, they are. But if you are you give them consistency, they will respond because that's how they learn.
Is that kind of like the idea of, like, I was always told, like, make the bedtime a routine, like
Exactly.
when you give them a bath, turn the lights down, like
Exactly.
start the
Yes. And for example, you wake them up every single day at the same time. If you
Yeah.
pick 7 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, wake them up every single day.
Whether they've had a good or bad night.
Exactly.
7.
Stick to that every single day. The same with bedtime. All babies, depending of how the wake up window are or the age, they have a sweet spot to go into bed between 6 and 8. It depends of, if it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months old. So you pick, depending on how old the baby is, you pick that and you stick to that every single day. You get into a moment that they take off on their own. Of course, don't let them get overtired because that's on all the
Yours
level.
went to bed how early?
7 to 7.
7.
Yep.
See, I liked 7 because
Yes.
if I got home from work, I wanted some time, or maybe 7:30. And now it's still, even with her being sick, she likes 8 o'clock. Like
Yeah.
she likes to go to bed at 8. So,
But there's some things too, like people are, I feel like during the daytime with the newborns or with like babies, you are always so good. Like we would wake them up. There was a schedule. They get used to the schedule, but you wake them. I don't care. She's like, they're napping. Doesn't matter. Wake them up. We're going to wake them up at this time. This is when they get their bottle. This is their wake up window. I didn't know babies had a wake up window. I
Yeah.
thought when they got tired, you put them down. Turns out they show you they're tired when they're overtired.
yeah.
So you have to put them down before they're giving you those cues.
Yeah.
So it is like it's almost like math.
Yes.
And it's something I will say, like, everyone's always like, yeah, I sleep train my baby. I sleep train my baby. And I'm like, you didn't Tata sleep train him. I know that. Unless you had the headlight on in your head. Oh yeah. The headlight going into
Why the headlight?
So she didn't turn on the lights.
So I didn't turn the light. So I have like a headlight, those camping headlights.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite tools. And then I put the headlight to, go
the
up
ceiling.
to the ceiling, and I can see them, but the light won't wake them up.
Yeah.
Oh
and
my
she dream
gosh.
feeds them. So like they're sleeping, but they're getting their nutrition, so they're not waking up hungry.
Exactly.
So they're asleep essentially, but they're getting a little.
Exactly.
That's different than like drunk feeding.
What's drunk?
Oh,
What's
I
drum
always.
feeling?
So I was.
You give them splashes?
No. I always, I'd always do a very full bottle like before she went to sleep.
Oh, okay.
I was
think
told
there's
that's
also-
called like drunk feeding.
Oh, because they get like
They
milk
get
drunk.
so full,
Got
they're
it.
just like
Got it.
exhausted, and they go to sleep.
So I feel like, and I think Tata can probably tell you about this. I feel like with the twins or with it, we didn't want to overfeed them because they just throw it back up. But
yeah,
I would
because
like,
of the reflux.
I would actually
Yeah.
like your
Yes.
input
Yeah.
on the drunk feeding.
Yeah.
Well, never heard that term of drug feeding,
Yeah.
but it works. I guess you're talking about a lot of people, in the sleep training world, they call it calorie intake. You feed
Yeah.
by calorie. For
Yeah.
example, I put an example. A baby that is 2 weeks old has the capacity to eat no more than 3 ounces.
Yeah.
So if you feed them 3 ounces every 3 hours, you're doing calorie intake to the max,
Yeah.
and they can start stretching, the nights little by little as they get
As they gain
get
weight.
older.
Yeah.
No, as they get older.
Okay.
So they start stretching the night because you are feeding in a 12-period hour from 7 to 7 what they need. So it is
they
just
shouldn't
a
have.
little extra at night.
Yeah.
But if you feed a 2-week-old 1.5 ounce when they have the capacity to eat 3 ounces, they're going to ask for the other 1.5 ounce
In the middle of the night.
middle of the night.
Yeah.
So if you feed by calorie intake, that's one of the biggest success of sleep training.
Yeah. Interesting.
And this is why too, like, this is a positive to, and there's positive and negatives to all of it, but they're positive to bottle feeding.
Exactly.
Because you know what they're getting.
yeah, you can see.
Yes,
Breastfeeding,
and that
you can't.
No,
yeah.
you can't. But obviously, there's positives to breastfeeding
Yeah,
too.
sure,
So
of course.
it's all over the place. But I will say, she told me that. I remember trying to breastfeed the twins, and it was comical. And
You were a cow, Kelly.
I was a cow once I started, pumping. But I tried for like a day, and I was like, "This is a joke." Like, girl, I was sweating.
No.
These 2 miniature heads trying to put them on my nipple. I'm like, this is wild to me.
Yeah.
Kelly used to say, I feel that this breast pump is controlling my life.
Yeah.
It was. And that's another, like, pumping, that's hard because
does.
it controls everything you do.
Yeah.
But I remember her looking at me and being like, listen, don't stress about it.
Yeah.
Don't stress about this. Like, there's other ways to do it. And then she started telling me the benefits of feeding him from a bottle. And I was like, oh, yeah, this sounds way better. Let's do this.
Yeah.
And so that's when we started pumping and freezing all that damn milk.
You had that whole fridge, just
The whole freezer.
Tanks,
Yeah.
90 ounces in 24 hours. I have never seen that in my whole life. Never.
Cow.
Yes, she was a cow with the twins. Never seen that with twins.
Oh my
Think how
God.
big my boobs were. They were
my
so large.
goodness.
I feel like Tata would look at me like, it's time to pump. I'm like, oh, again. Yeah, they were large and in charge back then. But no,
I
will
bet
say-
Matthew loved that.
yeah. Except for I was like, don't touch me. It hurts. Don't touch me. All right, y'all. I'm not going to lie. I didn't want to get a dog after Marley and Champ because I truly didn't want to deal with feeding another, seemed like, person. And let's be honest, dogs are people. But the problem is that all these dog foods that are good for them, you have to either keep in your refrigerator and heat up for them, or it's frozen and you gotta heat it. It smells. It either smells up your refrigerator or it smells while you cook it, and then you gotta clean it all up, and then their beard smell because it's all wet. You know what? I just couldn't get a dog. But then I found Sundays for Dogs, and immediately my mind changed. This is when Sweet George came to the world. You know what? I love that dog, and I love his food even more because there is no preparation, there is no cleanup, but I know he is getting good food. Sunday's dog food is a dog food made from a short list of human grade ingredients. It contains 90% meat, 10% superfoods, and 0% synthetic nutrients or artificial ingredients. And most importantly, it's not smelling up your house, it's not smelling up their beard, and it's not smelling up your kitchen or your refrigerator. And there's no cleanup, there's no prep, because let's be honest, you guys know I'm not a chef. So if you're like me and want to give your dog the benefits of a good diet, but you just don't want to deal with it all, Sundays for Dogs is for you. You can get 40% off your first order of Sundays. Go to sundaysfordogs.com/Kelly or use code Kelly at checkout. Again, 40% off your first order of Sundays. Go to sundaysfordogs.com/Kelly. But no, I do think that's huge in sleep training, is just getting that, knowing what they're intaking.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'll never forget too, and then we'll move on from the sleep training, but we would feed the and it's always the twins. The twins were just a little tougher. Tyler was tough because she just had to make herself known.
Yeah.
Yes, Hunter was so easy.
Yes.
But the twins, we would, they had that acid reflux, and we'd be like, yes, we got the 3 ounces down. And a
then
minute
they'd
later, I'd be
puke.
like, "Bleh." I'm like, no. And I look at Tata and be like, do we give them more? And she's like, no, we just let them go to bed. I'm like, okay. And I felt so bad because she was waking up through the night.
Yeah.
I was waking up to pump. She was waking up to feed. And so I'd be like, but you're going to have to wake up. I'm so sorry. And Matthew would be like, we did it wrong. I'm like, I know. But it wasn't that. I just felt that
Felt
at the
that way.
time.
But also give them credit. They slept through the night at a very early age,
Yeah,
Kelly.
thanks to Tata sleep training. I know. Yeah, thank you. And they still sleep through the night. Thank goodness.
Potty training.
Yeah. I mean, this is something, but how do you know your kid's ready?
What's the right
Okay,
age?
30, you can start at 30 weeks old, basically closer to 3 years, but there's one thing that I would recommend to everybody. The bladder has to be ready. The bladder, it's a muscle, and a lot of people, that's why at 18 months,
Wasn't working.
it wasn't working because the bladder, and Kelly as a nurse can testify to that.
Yeah.
It doesn't work if you do it earlier. Yes, if you want to do it at 24 months, I think there's a competition of, okay, who can, let me get my kid out of diapers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, if you do it, then you have a year of accidents.
Yeah.
But if you do it when the bladder is ready, Hank and Kelly, it's 3 days. Kelly can testify that.
yeah,
Hunter was trained in 3 days.
Wow.
Very few accidents. Very few accidents. Why? Because the bladder is ready to contract itself.
And did you do the whole thing where they just didn't wear a diaper?
No,
that how you did it?
was like, I don't want to wear a diaper anymore. And I told Tata was like, I think you just let her, because she was like basically telling us she was ready.
And it was because, but was there an advantage because she had 2 older sisters that
No,
weren't
she was
wearing
3.
a diaper? Okay.
We
So
just
the bladder
waited.
was ready.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
the bladder was
I
ready.
didn't push her at 18 months to be
Yeah.
like, come on, Hunter, you can do
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
No, she was, again, 3 days. And that child, out of all my children, has the least amount of accidents.
Wow. Interesting.
And
Yeah.
it is a myth. A lot of people, the keys and the successful. I'm telling your audience, the success of potty training, it's wait until the bladder is ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When the bladder is ready, after 30 months old.
Isn't
Yeah.
it so crazy? Because you think back in the day, people weren't pushing their kids because
No.
they're like, I don't want to deal with people peeing on the floor. And now we're so competitive because we see everyone, or we're talking to a mom at the ballpark that's like has a 2.5-year-old running around that's potty trained. You're like, my kid should be potty trained.
I
But
think
it's just not real.
I only thought of it in terms of she has to be ready for preschool, and within preschool there was a no
I thought it was 4.
4. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, Emma figured it out like at 3.5.
Yeah.
But I was like, I put all this pressure on myself because I'm like, well, she can't have an accident at school.
Yeah.
You know, and she never did, but kids do, and they
Oh,
ask
for
you to bring
sure.
a change of clothes in the bag, and whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe she had like little things that happened, but I felt the pressure of the clock for that.
Yeah, that's true too. And I will
Yeah.
and I'll say something else too. When we tried so early with the twins, it backfired.
Yeah.
It took them
Mm-hmm.
way longer because it was like almost like, and I would try again in 8 months, and then I'd try again, and I'm like, how are you not getting this? But they just were never ready yet.
Yeah.
And finally, when they were ready, done. Like
Yeah.
it was not a big
Piece,
deal.
piece
How
of
was
cake.
Tyler?
Yes. Tyler was fine.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah.
We trained it last year Memorial Weekend.
Oh, yeah,
remember?
that's right,
When
that's
you
right.
went away,
I
they
know.
said Kelly, she's gonna be potty trained. When Kelly came out of Memorial Weekend, she
Yeah.
had
She was
something to
done.
do with Matthew, and she was ready.
Yeah.
all good.
Interesting.
Yes.
So
It is true. And
interesting.
like at nighttime too, because I feel like that's a question. Nighttime is obviously different during
You
than
wait 6
daytime.
months, and after they're potty trained, because you can. There's two different things: the bladder holding the pee for 3-4 hours, and
Yeah.
then the bladder holding the pee for 12 hours.
Yeah.
So you just give that bladder a couple more months, and then the bladder will hold the pee for 12 hours.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean they're not gonna have accidents, but they're minimum, less stressful when the bladder is ready.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I pulled it too early on Tyler for nighttime
Yes.
because I was so ready to be done. I was like, oh my gosh, we're almost done with diapers. So I was like, Tyler, you got this. No diaper. I mean, she pissed the bed 7 days straight. And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
we're back in diapers.
Yeah. I had some bad
And the
ones.
thing
I
that
had
the negative behavior, we put so much pressure. Sometimes we forget that they're little people.
Yeah.
And we put so much pressure on that little people, Hank
Yeah.
and Kelly, that it's not even worth it.
I know it's hard, and then
it's
you
not
feel
even-
so much guilt as a parent.
So much guilt.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then, they start holding the pee. They start holding the poo. They don't want to poo because instead of, we're feeding that negative behavior, they get afraid of the
Yeah.
toilet or
Yeah.
going
Which
because
was the
of
twins.
Exactly.
That's what happened with
So it's just when you wait for that bladder to be ready day and night, it is so easy to do so.
Is it bad to bribe your children to say, like, if you go to the potty, you get a treat, or if you do something, you get, a piece of candy?
Do you feel like
Okay.
they're not ready when we're doing that? Like, that's too early because we have to do that instead
What,
of them just
18 months
knowing.
old?
Well, yeah, that.
Yes.
But like, if you're bribing with a
A treat.
2.5-year-old, because you're saying, okay, well, when they're ready, they'll know they're ready and they know to go. They know to go potty on the potty. But when you're bribing them, is it because they're just too young and like they don't really understand the concept of I have to go pee and I have to go to the bathroom?
They have to be mature enough to understand the concept.
Yeah.
And for me, rewards, I have my own but this is Tata's personal opinion about rewards. If you try to train a child based on rewards, that can lead to people pleasing and pleasing strangers. So I'm very delicate on how I do it.
Interesting.
For example, Asher, I started potty train. Asher's birthday is December 2nd. I started in January, when he was basically 37-month old. He gave me 2 days straight. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. He refused to do it. So I said, you know what? Let's stop. And I wait, 4 or 5 months, and it was perfect. I did it on a weekend. He got the idea the first day. He wasn't ready, even though he was already 3.
Yeah.
He wasn't ready.
Yeah.
I wait 5 months, and I did it. And I didn't have to bribe him. I didn't have to offer anything.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that I am afraid of is that he becomes a people pleaser,
Yeah.
and then he pleases strangers,
Yeah.
people that he doesn't know.
Yeah.
So I didn't offer anything. It's just, okay, you're ready. He got interested, and we do it on a weekend.
Yeah.
And it was just so easy.
That's a really good point because I kind like now that you're saying that, I fear like Chandler is a very big people pleaser right
Yes.
now, and she's like a like she just wants to make sure everyone
Everybody's
else.
okay,
Yes.
yeah.
And I've never thought of it in terms of a stranger, so we might have to have that conversation with Chandler. In a world of slot reels and blackjack deals comes the must-play event of the summer from DraftKings Casino, featuring non-stop action and an all-star cast of games, including A-lister Loki's Luck. This summer blockbuster is one you won't want to miss. Plus, new players can get $100 instantly in casino credits with just a $1 wager, and all players get a blockbuster bonus every week. So sign up with code MORNINGAFTER and grab your popcorn. It's showtime on DraftKings Casino. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER, or in the West Virginia, visit www.1800gambler.net. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. 21 plus, physically present in Connecticut, Michigan, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, West Virginia only. Void in Ontario. Eligibility and other restrictions apply. New customers only. $1 wager to earn $100 in non-withdrawable casino credits that expire in 168 hours. Terms at casino.draftkings.com/blockbuster. I want to know, and people want to know, your favorite thing about each girl, and then we're going to do a good, bad, They will do the bad ones after that.
No. Favorite thing about the girls, Sawyer, her protective spirit. She is so protective.
Yeah.
Her so protected. Chandler, she is sweet and loving and caring. She gives everything. Like my sister wants my doll, I'll give it.
She's got a kind heart.
Yes,
Yeah.
she has no problem if one of her sisters is having a tantrum, like, I want that. I said, I'll give it to you here.
Yeah,
She sacrificed for all her three sisters. Love that about her. Hunty, her sassiness.
Yeah, she is.
I always said Hunty has some Latino in her. I love it. And
Tyler,
my gosh, she's so freaking honest. It's like, I could care less what people say. I said, like her personality is Minnie Kelly.
Oh.
She is Minnie Kelly. Hey.
And they're all so different.
they're all, which
They're
I love.
so
Yeah,
different.
yeah.
But you know what? And if you ask me, the four of them all together, they have a bond, a sister, that no one will ever break.
Yeah, that's so
And
sweet.
I love that because you can see it at a very early age. It's
I love it so
beautiful.
much.
But that's because of you, Matthew Kelly.
Well, I don't want to take that because that's them, but I will say, like, we were sitting by the fire pit on the night that I was supposed to be at Nikki's birthday, and I freaking forgot. I'm really upset about that. But
Did you text her?
Well, I'm doing one better than that. But we were sitting by the fire pit and we were looking at the pool, and I looked at Matthew and I was like, I love that they get along so well. And I know that's going to vary. That's going to go up and down, right? But I just feel like they understand, like, this is important. There's going to be people coming in, and we try to tell them, there's going to be people coming in and out of your lives, your whole life.
Yeah.
You're going to have boyfriends that break your heart. You're going to have friends that stab you in the back. You're going to, like, it's just going to happen. That's real life. But this will always be here for you. And I love, Tai, she drives me nuts a lot of times just because she's loud, and I love that about her. But talk about no one's going to mess with her sisters.
Yeah.
She might be physical with people if they mess with her sisters, which
She'll
I
cut
love.
a fool.
Yeah, she will.
Yeah.
But I love that you said that, because that is something that, as women too, going through this life, there's a lot of things put on women, what they look like, how they carry themselves, everything. It's nice to have just the backbone of sisterhood, you know what I mean? And just family. So I'm so, like, I always say I want an all boys. I'm so happy I have all girls. And I'm so happy I have four of them because they can protect one another.
Yeah.
And we always say it's the longest relationship you'll ever have is your siblings.
Yes.
And to take care of it. Now, I have two more questions, and we're going to let you go because I know you have lots of things to do. Are you still writing a book?
It's done, Kelly. The book is done.
What state are we edit? Like, what's happening?
I am looking for a ghostwriter, but the book is done. I have it all on my cell phone. It is. I'm done. The book is done.
Okay, well,
Yes.
I feel like
Do you have
we
a
can
title?
help you, the ghostwriter.
Can we say
Yes,
the
but
title?
no.
Don't say it.
Not
Okay,
yet.
don't say it. Don't
Not
say
yet.
it. This is so exciting. All right, you heard it first here. The book is done.
Yes,
She's just
it
looking
is
for a
done.
ghostwriter, so it'll be close. I'm telling you guys, if it's going to give the knowledge that Tata has given to me over all these years. It is worth it. If you have friends that are pregnant or getting married and gonna be pregnant, or just, I don't know, you want to be a professional. I would say a professional Tata, because I just feel like nanny has a negative connotation. This is the book for you. Before we let you leave, I would like a good bad hunty or a good bad tie from you.
Oh my God. Tyler was with me on Saturday, and they were going to jump in the pool at my house. And then all of a sudden, Tata said, I got to go to the bathroom. I got to go to the bathroom. I said, okay, mamita, let's go. The bathroom is there. She said, no. She opened her legs and said, I'm going to pee in the grass. And literally open her legs and pee in the grass. He's like, okay.
Goodness.
Wait, I don't even know where she learned that.
Well, it's the country in her.
She did.
The Georgia came out.
I mean, what in the
Lord.
world?
Yeah.
Well, I hope the pee doesn't stain your grass like dog pee does. You know what I mean?
I cook her legs.
I
And
can't. Oh my gosh.
we all were laughing. It's like, Tata. I said, I know I'm peeing in the grass. You, okay.
Her and her bathroom habits. She yells from across the, like, I'm sitting in the kitchen. You know that bathroom that's in that gallery area? She's like, Mommy, I pooped. And she will say it until I go into the bathroom. And she's like, I pooped. I'm like,
Oh.
can you, great. Can you wipe yourself? But it's every time.
Yeah.
It's not like,
I mean, at least she's going.
I know.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Well, Tata,
At least she didn't go in the pool.
that's very
Yeah,
true. I'll take
yeah.
that. Well, I mean, do you pee in pools?
No. I'm an
Okay.
adult. I mean, I have.
Nah.
But
This is a
Who
conversation.
doesn't pee in the pool?
Right,
Are you getting out of the pool to pee in the pool to go to a bathroom? Hank?
8 times out of 10 I am, yes.
Really?
Really? No.
You
I don't.
pee in pools?
Listen, this
I'm
has-
never swimming with you again.
This has been, yeah, right.
I mean,
Yes,
I
you
feel
will.
like the chlorine kills it, but now everybody has saltwater pools.
Yeah, but saltwater still has chemicals that still
Okay,
kill pee.
okay, all
I mean,
right.
you're swimming next to Emma in a swim diaper wherein she poops. That shit's going everywhere.
Okay.
Okay, so
Yeah,
we'll
all
talk
right.
about this on another podcast.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
My goodness.
All right, Tata. I loved having you on.
Thank you guys
again.
for
Thank
your
you,
invite.
Tata.
Well, I
Appreciate
appreciate
it.
you driving all the way out here because I know it's a long drive.
Yeah.
And I know you
No,
have
ma'am.
a lot going on. Are you going to gymnastics tonight or is Matthew?
I
Have you
think
heard
it's-
from Matthew?
No.
That means he's taking him, which well done, Dad.
Nope. He hasn't texted.
Yeah, gymnastics is usually Tata. Thank goodness, but like 2 hours of gymnastics is
Oh
a
my
lot,
God.
and you are so patient with it. And I'm like, by hour 1, I'm like, all right, that's probably enough. We should
Yeah.
probably leave. But
But
anyways,
it wears them out.
thank you so much for coming on. I
Thank
love
you
you
guys
so
for
much.
having me. I
We're gonna
appreciate it.
end it the normal way we end it. We will say make a splash.
Yeah.
You say have a splash. All right, ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Make
Make
a
a splash. Have a splash.
I love it.
Yay.
Thank you, Tata.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. I love it.